A lot of times women, and through the course of history, they're kind of taught inappropriately that it's better to be small. Well, small and muscle mass are very different things. Yeah. There's something that's called a skinny fat, where people have actually lost their muscle mass but look skinny. Well, that's probably the worst scenario. Keeping lean muscle mass is the key to longevity.
Welcome to Beyond the Labs with Matt and Amy McKinlay, where we stop chasing lab numbers and start building real vitality. We challenge conventional medicine, talk business, hormones, and longevity, and help you think differently about what it really means to feel good. Let's go beyond the labs. Welcome to Beyond the Labs. Today, we're going to talk about something that I feel very passionate about. There's this narrative out there that says that hormone optimization is all about vanity, about how you look, and that could be further from the truth. Hormones are not about vanity. They're more about vitality. So we're going to be talking today a little bit about how that's all connected. Okay. They're about how you wake up in the morning. They're about whether you feel strong or fragile. And if we're going to talk about vitality, there's something we need to talk about, and that's truly about muscle. So we're going to talk about vitality, and we're going to be talking about muscle today and why it's so important and how hormone optimization truly comes into play for that.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of frustrating is society oftentimes will confuse fitness with vanity. Fitness is about feeling fit, feeling good, living a better life with more vitality. Muscle isn't cosmetic, although, gosh, we like to look good. Everyone does. Yeah. But it's also metabolic. It's about how our body uses muscle to process things, to make us feel better and live a happy life. One thing that I will comment on through my years in orthopedics is loss of muscle mass leads to health issues. We would see fractures all the time where an elderly person or not so elderly person takes a fall and breaks a hip. And oftentimes you hear, their bone quality wasn't good. But really the reason they broke their hip was because they didn't have the muscle mass to catch themselves in a stumble. Mm-hmm. And then they go to the ground and break a hip. So the other thing that was very, very noticeable was post-op. After a fracture, people healed much quicker if they had good muscle mass.
I agree. So, why muscle equals longevity? Matt was just talking a little bit about the people that have more muscle. You definitely have a longer chance of living. And in fact, there's a lot of good studies out there. We'll kind of get into that today, but lean muscle mass is the biggest predictor of longevity. And, most people don't realize this, but muscle is your biggest glucose reservoir.
Yep.
So if you don't have muscle, you don't process carbs very well. And that leads to diabetes. So people that have more muscle have less diabetes.
Yeah, it also
or apt to get diabetes.
It also leads to good bone density. Muscle mass leads to great bone density. I have parents they're in their mid 80s and they've really optimized their hormones in the last 3 years and they feel so much better. But they also are stronger and have better balance, even with aging. So that's an important thing to think about.
Muscle is actually, we talked a little bit about longevity, muscle is the organ of longevity.
Yep.
So it is all about how do we maintain muscle mass as we grow older? How do we optimize that to live these better lives? And it is through hormone optimization that you're able to keep your muscle longer and stronger. And you have to optimize. As we grow older, you lose muscle and you lose testosterone, which helps with muscle.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be that way. We're kind of trained that, hey, as you get older, you're going to lose your muscle mass. Does not have to be that way and should not be that way. We have the technology, the information to really understand how this works. Excuse me. A lot of times women, and through the course of history, they're kind of taught inappropriately that it's better to be small. Well, small and muscle mass are very different things. Yeah. There's something that's called a skinny fat, where people have actually lost their muscle mass but look skinny. Well, that's probably the worst scenario. Keeping lean muscle mass is the key to longevity.
I know Matt and I have both had a journey with, lifting. We've always incorporated weights, resistance training. Yep. And it's not just so much weights, lifting, but it's you can use body weight, you can use any of that stuff. And we've incorporated that for many, many years. I think all our marriage, that's been an important thing. We've taught that to our children, and it has paid off. As we have optimized our hormones and gotten stronger, our fat has been replaced by muscle. And you can really, truly see that in pictures, as we looked at pictures, about even 5-10 years ago. It's crazy how much we've changed.
Yeah. So lean muscle mass is the goal for everyone. Increasing lean muscle mass over time is what also leads to strength, and strength is next to vitality. Women have been taught inappropriately to fear testosterone. It's kind of been a taboo thing, but it's far from the truth. It really needs to be optimized, especially as women age. They've been taught that skinny is the best way to go, but skinny is not good metabolically. Skinny is risk for bone fracture, it's risk for muscle loss, it's risk for poor health in general. And women sometimes have also been taught to avoid lifting weights. Lifting weights is what builds that lean muscle mass. And when you basically team it with testosterone therapy and estradiol and all of the hormones we'll talk about, that's when the magic happens and people live this happy, healthy, abundant life.
Yeah, I think, and it's true with testosterone. As I've kind of optimized my own testosterone, I have to tell women, listen, you're not going to you're not going to get man's muscles. That's not going to happen. Lean muscle is very important. We've kind of said that as we've aged, but women will not develop into these men muscles. It's just not possible, but it's so very important for women as we get older, as we get into our 60s and 70s and even to our 80s. It's so important to develop that muscle and the habits of
the habits are key
of lifting. And,
really.
and I don't think there's any time like too late to learn how to do that. And we have this information out there that you can go on YouTube and learn how to lifting weights. They shouldn't scare you at all.
Yeah, I'll tell my quick personal journey about hormone optimization and fat and lean muscle mass and lifting. As Amy said earlier, we both lifted our whole lives and we do it together. We do it as a family a lot of times, which is awesome. A little bit of my personal journey. I played collegiate athletics. I played football in college, was always in good shape. So I always loved lifting weights and did it usually 5 days a week along with cardio. Well, it got to a point probably in my early 40s where I stopped seeing any results and started getting fat, like 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was doing everything the same. I was still lifting. I was trying to eat good, doing everything that I should. But guess what? I started getting fatter and I wasn't gaining any more lean muscle mass because my hormones had declined substantially.
Under eating. Sometimes a lot of times if you do gain some weight, you'll not eat as much. And that's not the right way to do it. It's usually hormone imbalance. So we undereat and then we add stress on top of that.
Cortisol levels rise.
Yep. And basically you lose muscle when you start to do that. We don't want to lose muscle. So eating good protein, good carbs, all of that stuff's very important, and you cannot out-discipline a hormone problem.
Can't. No, I think that's so important to understand. Like I was saying earlier, I was still super disciplined with lifting every day, eating well, but I didn't have the hormones. So I was just basically sinking slowly and it felt horrible, felt really bad. Testosterone drives protein synthesis. So you need protein synthesis to build lean muscle mass. Estrogen or estradiol also protects bone quality and lean muscle mass in women and men. That's another thing that people don't understand is men need to have some estradiol. And with testosterone replacement, it will drive up a man's estradiol level as well. It really is like a balancing act to get into that perfect spot. Another very important thing is human growth hormone, or HGH. And as we get older, our IGF levels decrease. There are now some really, really awesome peptides that can really help increase your lean muscle mass with natural production of HGH. And again, that's natural. It's not taking synthetic HGH. It's a peptide that really stimulates your body to produce more. So that's been a huge breakthrough in the last several years, and we love peptides.
Yeah. So, if your testosterone is low, your thyroid is low, your cortisol levels are sky high, it doesn't matter how disciplined or how motivated you are, your body is going to resist. So that's why it's so important to optimize your hormones, so you can have this vitality, and we talk about, it's not vanity. It is all about how you walk into a room, how you present yourself, your time in your life. If you're building a business like we are, if it's, parenting and how you parent and how you come across from, even with your spouse, all of that stuff is so important. And there's nothing scary. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing dangerous about optimizing them where you feel good.
Yeah. I saw an anesthesiologist last week and had a great conversation with him. And he was in his I think he's 51, but he made the comment, keep in mind, a very motivated person. They have 6 kids. And what he presented to me was, I've lost energy. I've lost drive and motivation. So the things I used to love to do, he said, it's kind of blah. And we hear that word a lot. I just feel blah.
Meh.
Yeah, meh, blah. I'm not motivated to do the things I love. And he felt bad. He's like, man, I don't want to go out hunting with my kids. I used to love to hunt. Now it's just kind of like, it's a lot of work. Instead of fun, it becomes a chore. So, optimizing those levels is just so amazing for vitality, and not only for the individual, but what they pass on to their loved ones.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so important for relationships too, in a marriage. I think it's important to understand each other. Talking about couples, when you optimize, in fact, we see a lot of couples in our clinic. And when
it's the best. We love couples. And
when we get them optimized, it shifts everything. It's an amazing transformation in their relationship. They want to be together again. It's been so much fun. I think that's
connection. It's about connection again.
I think it's been the funnest part of what we do, is optimizing couples, because it's such a rewarding thing. It's like, but if you got one optimized and not the other, they're bringing the other one in. It's one of those things where, and they want to come in. So, but it's been fun to watch that change. So
yeah, that's been probably some of the very most rewarding things we've done with this clinic, this business, is really helping people live that abundant life. And QTR, quality time remaining, as we hit that early 30s, just that quality time gets tougher to experience, especially as couples and also individually. So it's important. One thing about testosterone that we see all the time in men and women is a definite rise in confidence. Mm-hmm. People feel more confident because they feel like themselves again. They don't feel like they're just eking through life. They're really working hard and feeling good while doing it, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And mood stability is another huge one. With both estradiol and testosterone. For women, progesterone also a great one.
And I think thyroid too. I think there's so many women that are underutilized thyroid.
Yeah, thyroid. Well, and another big word, well, it's not a big word, but a word you're hearing all the time is cortisol levels. Mm-hmm. People are studying up, they're understanding a little bit more about cortisol levels, and we treat that with DHEA, which honestly is another game changer. Don't forget about leaving, we can't leave DHEA out of the equation. That helps regulate cortisol, mood, and optimize the rest of your hormones. So, yeah, DHEA plays a huge role with cortisol.
So, there's nothing vain about wanting to feel strong.
Everyone loves to feel strong.
Yeah, I just feel like there's nothing superficial about wanting more energy. And so, there's nothing shallow about this. It is all about, vanity is kind of chasing, I think, numbers on a scale. Getting on a scale and looking at that number and wanting to be less weight. But vitality is actually chasing a stronger, I think, more abundant, longer, happier life.
Yeah, and to piggyback on weight, I bet 50% of our clients now don't even look at a scale. They just say, I feel better, my pants fit better, my clothes fit better, I feel stronger, I have better sex drive, I have better motivation. And the first thing we almost always hear is more energy. Yeah. And more energy is something everybody wants.
Yeah.
If you're losing muscle, you're losing time. you're losing quality time. When you lose muscle mass, just think, well, there goes another quality year off the clock. Optimizing that at an early age, you don't have to wait until you're 50 or 60. Optimize it when you start losing it. What do you have to lose? You're only going to feel better. And really, if there are any side effects, we know how to fix those. We know how to adjust things. So, I think waiting is the worst thing people can do, because over time, hormone levels don't rise, they only go down. So getting things checked out, we do a comprehensive lab panel that we call our
optimal blueprint.
Optimal hormone blueprint. And it's really a blueprint of not only hormones, but vitality. We look at a lot of other things, including diabetes markers, insulin resistance. We look at thyroid levels. We look at vitamin D levels, B12 levels, cardiovascular panels. So this is not just about hormones. It's about optimizing your entire health.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what it really means about going beyond the labs. We don't just chase normal. We help to build optimal, to where you feel good, where you can feel like you can live your best life. Like Matt was talking about, QTR, quality time remaining here on this earth. We never know when that time is going to come, but why can't we make it the best and every day live our fullest and feel good?
It's optional, right? We don't have to not feel good. Decline is optional. We can either settle for declining and not living our best life, or we can decide right now, hey, I want to live my best life and optimize things. That's why we actually rebranded this past couple of months ago. Well, this past month, and the name of our business is Optimal Hormones Plus. So, it's not just hormones, it's a lot of other things that we incorporate into our plan.
So we're going to end with this. Muscle is retirement insurance. Think about that. As we age, we want to maintain that muscle. Like I said before, it is the biggest predictor of longevity of life is lean muscle. So as we can maintain that by optimizing your hormones, because you're going to have to optimize your hormones in order to maintain that lean muscle. That is your retirement insurance. You can live happy, healthy, abundant, and live strong into your 80s and even 90s.
Yeah, we've seen it now. And we love you guys. Come and join us and get on the Optimal Hormones Plus freight trade.
See you guys. Thanks.